As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I'm going to go with Sooner fans only because there's at least, I feel like, the opportunity. Whenever ABC announced that they've got the OU Texas game and threw that out there, we've got a window for a 2:30. Okay. We've got the opportunity. I know the ABC has had the 11 o'clock kick before. I know that has happened, but it just gives you a chance. And don't you think, like, unanimously with fans that 2:30 is better for OU Texas?
I think a lot of people would prefer it. Yeah, will it be hot? Yeah, but the game's
It's going to
always
be hot
hot. It
anyways.
doesn't matter. It's hot.
You're not going to escape the heat. It's going to happen.
I
I
think I think it would make the Friday night before a lot more fun for a lot of fans. No doubt.
I know that's the thing. It's like, even if you could get an hour, like a noon kick would be even better. But I don't know. I think it's a small little win in there to where you say at least there's a chance. Do you think it's going to be 11 a.m. still?
I I don't really know because you look at the slate that weekend
It's not
and
much.
there's not much.
All you
So
have is A&M and Alabama, which that's going to be a night game.
right.
And
That's really I mean, I'm looking at it right now. That's really the only other what you would consider a marquee game, right? Where it's two just massive brands going against each other, like Kentucky, Georgia, LSU,
here's my
Missouri.
right. I think what's there's a Big 12 game. Is it Baylor, TCU maybe, or
Texas Tech, Baylor.
Tech Baylor? That'd be a good one. I know the 11 a.m. games have awesome ratings. Okay. So that's why they like to put big games there. But here's my thinking. If you know 11 a.m. games rate really well, I put OU Texas at 2:30 because it's going to rate well no matter where you put it, right? It's
Right.
going to get great ratings. I put something else at 11 a.m. to try and draw some attention there and get good ratings on a game that, if it was placed somewhere else, would not draw what it would at 11 a.m. That's how I would view it. But I'm also biased. I want to kick that game off at 2:30.
Yeah. No, I would like to go out and have a little more fun Friday night there in Dallas. That I'm not opposed to that. I do think, when you think of, the dynamics of kind of the TV competition between ESPN and Fox, like Fox they found some success with Big Noon Kickoff, right?
Yeah.
And if you're ABC/ESPN and you can, put another game to go up against that and kind of split that viewership
Mm-hmm.
and then own the 2:30 window with OU Texas, then and I'm not a ratings specialist, so maybe what I just said makes no sense. But
No.
it's it seems like that would be a good plan, right? Try to split that early viewership and then get everyone who's anyone watching your channel at 2:30 for OU Texas. I make a ton of sense to me, but once again, I'm a dum dum.
That's my hope. Fingers crossed. Think it's going to happen. And I think that I know right now Texas is getting a lot of preseason hype. Big surprise. Oklahoma flying under the radar right now. I have a feeling that game is going to be, by the time it rolls around, is going to be really, really big. Always is, doesn't matter. But, I think that there's at least a chance that all Texas has to do is show that they can stay on the field against Alabama, right? That's all they have to do. Anything better than that, they're going to be praised for it. I think we should be undefeated rolling in. And by that time, would we be in the top 10? I don't know. It depends what happens with everyone in front of you. But I think there's a decent chance that you could have a top 10 matchup again, which, they feel like they've been few and far between in recent years. It's been one team is up, the other down.
Yeah. Well, one team's got the third best quarterback heading into the college football season. So, there's I don't even know if OU will be able to compete in the game with such a powerhouse at quarterback on the other side. We didn't get into that. We don't need to get into that. Oh, I think
There's plenty of time for that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Quinn Ewers looks. When I saw him at number 3 on that list, I was like, what? But let's not. We don't need to. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I thought about going with the Yankees. Aaron Judge looking over to the right a little bit before he hits an absolute bomb. And the announcers noticed it before. He did it, the swing before. And then they were talking about it as he absolutely crushed a baseball. And I don't know if he was getting signs from someone. I don't know what happened, but they've got people looking. And as soon as you give people a reason to start looking, I've already seen a video of maybe it was last year in the playoffs. Someone did the same thing. And then last night they have a pitcher get tossed for having look like black tar all over his pants. Man, you just don't want people snooping around. But I decided to go with Pat McAfee. And he's leaving his current gig, $120 million over 4 years. And he's going to ESPN. And Pat McAfee, he's not necessarily like my type of guy. He's a bit much for me, but I recognize what he does is good. I recognize that he's got a good following, a good fan base. I think he's knowledgeable. I think he's entertaining. And I think the best thing about him is he's unique and untethered and does whatever he wants. And he's leaving the DraftKings deal and he's going to ESPN, and he says that they're going to maintain creative control, and I'm sure ESPN told him that. He says that, it's going to be the same show except with less cussing, and I'm sure ESPN told him that. But it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. You're now going to be controlled by ESPN. You're going to be controlled by their stock price. You're going to be controlled by all of the different things that Disney adheres to. And it'll probably start off with a bang and be great. And slowly but surely, the noose will tighten. And it's frustrating for me whenever you see good people out there doing really good things that are not on like the major mainstream sites. I guess, for lack of a better term, sell out and go take those deals. I get it. He probably was able to negotiate really good deals for the guys that he's with that are a part of the show too. It's not just him. He'll be exposed to a bigger audience, but I don't know. In the long run, I just feel like it is choking out the creativity of what he's done. We'll see. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. It feels like that's how things have been.
Yeah, and I agree. I was surprised. Right now, I wasn't surprised because, he's already on College Game Day. Clearly, he's got the relationship with ESPN, right? But to say like, hey, nothing's changing. You just said you're going to cuss less. Anyone that has watched this stuff, like, that's a big change. They drop the F-bomb a lot. A lot. I mean, Pac-Man Jones is on there sometimes. It's like every third or fourth word.
He won't be again.
Yeah, and I hope nothing changes because I like his stuff. I catch most of it just on social media, like the clips he puts out on Twitter, and it's wildly entertaining. But it made me go back and think. You remember when the guys from Pardon My Take did the Barstool Van Talk, right? And they did one episode. And there was an internal uprising of female employees and all this stuff. Like, it's a slippery slope. right? Some of the stuff that they say on there, like who are they going to upset quickly? And then how does ESPN react to that, right? If something similar happens. He wasn't in that situation with the FanDuel thing. And I hope it all works out. I understand the distribution is way more significant, right? It's going to be on ESPN, ESPN Plus. It's going to be free on YouTube, right? On ESPN's YouTube. And that's awesome. Like the distribution is going to be huge. The numbers are going to be great. When it starts creeping in your head, like, hey, what does so-and-so think about what I just said? Like, or as simple as, I'm not going to say that because now we're on ESPN. That just changes, fundamentally changes what you're doing. And I hope it stays the same, man. I really do. But it's hard to imagine that they're going to operate the same way, knowing, who they answer to now.
Yeah. No, that's my whole thing. And it at least appears right now that he's taking less money. I don't know. Maybe he feels like, I don't know.
There's got to be more to it, right? Like the distribution's one thing, and them saying you're going to be able to do everything you want to do. I know he just had he's got a young kid, and maybe it's as simple as, hey, he's trying to find better balance in his life, right? Maybe ESPN's taking a lot of the, the sales stuff and like all those things, like other than the content creation, like maybe they're taking a lot of that off his plate. I don't know that, but that was my thing. Is like, hey, maybe he's just in search of more balance in his life. Maybe it's been a little too consuming the way they've been doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't even know how they're going to air it, because it's been like a 3-hour continuous stream, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it is?
Yeah. And clearly whoever's operating the dump button is going to have that finger ready.
Well, and like he's on YouTube now, and it's going to stay on YouTube, but he's going to lose his entire YouTube audience. I mean, not the entire audience, but a huge chunk of it. People that consume content on YouTube do not consume ESPN. It's like that you are axing that group. Like they're on YouTube specifically to avoid ESPN,
I think it's going to be fascinating to see how it works out. And this is one of the things with McAfee. We'll see how long it sticks. The guy's been a bit of a nomad, right? Right. Yep. Barstool, the DAZN, like he's bounced around, man. I mean, bounced around a lot.
Great offers. Yeah. It got up to what, $30 million a year there at DraftKings. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, that they don't choke the creativity and what's made him who he is, but we'll see.
Yeah. I hope it goes well. I'm not worried about Pat McAfee and his financial situation moving forward, but I do wonder if the content it's going to stay the same. It's hard to believe, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
John Vance Auto Group has been serving Oklahomans for 40 years, family owned and operated. They've got 9 full service dealerships in Woodward, Miami, and Guthrie. No matter what your vehicle needs are, John Vance Auto Group has you covered. They carry domestic brands such as Ford, Lincoln, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and Wagoneer. John Vance Auto Group's goal is to give unequaled service and to exceed customers' expectations in every way, which is why they have their lifetime loyalty program. Here's how it works. You buy a new or used car from the Vance dealership. All you have to do is get all the manufacturer recommended maintenance done at the Vance dealership. And if something goes wrong, the components of your engine, transmission, drive axle, or transfer unit, they'll cover the repair costs. It's a great deal. You can browse their entire inventory or find the John Vance dealership near you at vanceautogroup.com.
And First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with Georgia. Got a commitment from Dylan Raiola, 5-star quarterback that is the number 1 ranked player in the class of 2024. Ted, we know his dad. Just what Georgia needed, more talent.
Yeah. I talked to Dom quite a bit about his son's recruitment. For a long time, like, he wanted to come to Oklahoma really bad when Lincoln Riley was here. Like, this is the place he wanted to go. Then Lincoln went to USC. They weren't happy about that move. I felt like I thought all along, like, enough time's going to pass and he's going to end up wanting to go to USC again to follow Lincoln. And then the Nebraska stuff popped up with Matt Rule taking over there. A lot of people thought maybe he's going to go to Nebraska, but hard to turn down Georgia, man. With what they've got rolling right now, it's hard to say that you didn't make the right decision, but he's got a ton of talent. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah, I love some of the people that have the take of Georgia doesn't need that talented of a quarterback. It'll change the identity of the program having someone that good. I'm over here like, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll figure it out. All right, but my winner of the week, the National Basketball Association. Just a lot of NBA stuff this week. Ted, we've got coaches getting fired, right? Doc Rivers is out there in Philly. Monty Williams is out in Phoenix. So the coaching carousel, that conversation is in full swing. NBA Combine going on right now, which clearly is connected to the NBA lottery reveal that we saw on Tuesday night. Now, Thunder got 12. Now, didn't get that lucky in the second round. I think the second round pick went from like 35 to 50, which not what you're looking for. But hey, you get 12. It's where you were slotted. You didn't fall. Always a good. Yes, do you want to move up? Of course. But at least you're not the Detroit Pistons. Oh, worst record in the league by 5 games, and they end up with the 5th pick. Just absolutely brutal for that fan base.
Horrible. That stinks. That stinks. And you hate that. Like, I don't know what the right way to do things is, but you feel like like, if you're that bad, you should have the number 1 pick. That would probably make things worse, frankly, when it comes to the tanking situation in the NBA. But yeah, you hate that for Detroit, man. It's been a while since they've been relevant. Long time.
Yeah. And now on the other side of things, San Antonio, the tank was completely worth it, right? They have won the Wembanyama sweepstakes, and the shots of Wembanyama's reaction to Houston not having the first pick was, it was so good. It's so good. And it seems like he's excited to go to San Antonio, and it feels like a very good landing spot for him after all the success that they've had with international players, right? And having Greg Popovich and the structure of that organization, it feels like a really good situation, and a really good situation for the city of San Antonio, right? Because Austin's been snooping around, they've been snooping around, and I feel like this is exactly what that city needed to make sure the Spurs they're not even thinking about looking anywhere else. So it was huge for them, man. Huge.
Yeah. And that's, it's an interesting organization. They've had some really nice runs that, lasted really long time. And it's funny, they get like billed as a small market team, but it's like the 7th biggest city in the country or something
Huge.
like that. But I think it's more with kind of how they operate, maybe that gets them fans feeling that way or whatever. But yeah, I hope San Antonio's back. I like whenever they're in the mix.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got game one of the conference finals between the Lakers and Nuggets. Kind of looked like it was going to be a blowout, but then the Lakers seemed to solve some things there in the fourth quarter. Got super fun and interesting in those last couple minutes, but too much Jokic, Ted. No one lumbers more gracefully than that man. I mean, it's so fantastic to watch. 34, 21, and 14 for Jokic in game one. Just ridiculous, man.
Somehow he makes it look like LeBron whenever he's playing well, or LeBron looks like an elite athlete that is just, next level. Jokic looks like someone's dad playing against kids in the driveway somehow, and makes it work. It's spectacular.
Yeah. But that game, Anthony Davis, 40 and 10. Austin Reeves continues to just do himself some serious good with restricted free agency coming up for him. And after watching that game, maybe the Lakers did figure some stuff out in that fourth quarter, but I'm still feeling good about my Nuggets pick because I just think they're a little more balanced, and I think Jokic is the best player in the series. I think he's the best connector in the series. He's fascinating to watch, and I do think that's that altitude, everything, like they got the true home court advantage there in Denver. So I still feel good about my pick about the Nuggets, but should be an awesome series, man.
No, it will be. And I think the Lakers at least showed that they're going to have the ability maybe to catch fire in some games late. And who knows what happens if they hit a couple more of those. I think Austin Reeves, did he miss a couple of threes late? Like if he makes those buckets, who knows what happens there in the last 30 seconds or so. So I think it looks like it's at least going to be a really good series.
Yeah. No, I'm completely agree with you there.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. With my loser of the week, thought about all the guys playing in the PGA Championship. Man, it looks miserable at Oak Hill right now. Wind's blowing. It's cold. Now, I understand the weather's supposed to get a little better as we head into the weekend, but I've been seeing guys just drop the ball in the rough, like all of these things. That course looks like an absolute beast, dude.
I know the players hate that, but at least I love to see whenever the winning score is like even, and the guys are just struggling to make it around. A birdie is like a big deal. That's what I enjoy. And I know there's a lot of fans out there, maybe not everyone, but I'm sure it's going to get a little better, right?
All the guys were wearing like gloves and beanies when I was watching some of the practice stuff this morning. So I don't know, man, but that course looks like it's ready to show its teeth. But I'll be watching. My productivity this weekend will be very little because I will be dialed into that. But my loser of the week, the ACC. I'm a big vibes guy. The vibes are not good coming out of the ACC meetings. The vibes are not good, right? Ross Dellinger, he had an article there in Sports Illustrated about conference realignment and what the ACC's future may look like. Mentioned that 7 ACC schools have been meeting together, all with their lawyers, quote, examining the grant of rights to determine just how unbreakable it is. Now, however, it seems like they've discovered that maybe it's too difficult to break. So now they're considering other options. It seems like they are looking at new weighted revenue models. Basically, hey, you eat what you kill in football is kind of how I understand it, is what they're trying to get to. But Ted, this is all new information. When you start hearing what did Brett McMurphy label them? The Magnificent Seven. It's just an awful nickname. Oh, I love McMurphy. He throws some
There's
funny
nothing
stuff.
magnificent, I don't think, about any of the seven.
It
Good. There's some good schools in there, but it was
they
strange.
this is, I mean, you got half the conference that has been taking a long, hard look of how to get out. And I get it, right? You look at the Big Ten's numbers and the SEC's numbers when it comes to the media rights deal, and you're stuck in this what is now a horrible deal that runs through 2036. And every year you're under that deal, every year you stay, like the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I get it, but the vibes are just not good out there on the East Coast, man. That is when you got half the conference studying, lawyering, trying to get out. You are. I don't care what anyone says. You're not in a good situation.
Yeah. Well, when Alford said it was either right before our bowl game or right after, when he was talking about the revenue situation and how unhappy they are. Like according to their models, they bring in 15% and they only get paid out 7. Was not happy about it. And then what was it, yesterday or maybe the day before, he came out and said, yeah, I think we've reached an agreement that we like and everyone's going to be able to get along. So it sounds like they're going to, like you said, the revenue is going to be distributed a little bit differently than even across the board. And while I think that sounds good in theory now, I unfortunately, I feel like Florida State is opening up a can of worms on themselves. Like, you better make sure that everything that you're doing is 100% above board, because you've put a target on your back for the rest of the teams in your conference. If you're gonna win more and get more revenue than everyone else, they're gonna resort to different tactics to try and bring you down. And who knows what that might be.
Right.
Animosity within a conference is not good.
Right. And Florida State's been the most outspoken. Right? I think we all know that Clemson, with what that program's accomplished, hasn't been happy. Right. They can't be happy with the revenue gap that is developing. It seems like they've been a little quieter about it. Maybe operating
Right.
a little more in the shadows.
Which I think is
But
smart.
yeah, but now they've said some stuff publicly, don't get me wrong, but I'm interested to see where this goes. I saw a quote from Alford from Tuesday. He said they're, quote, very thrilled to be in this league and we want to stay. Okay. I think the bottom line is I understand why some schools that have more football success, right, and have a richer tradition, why they want a bigger piece of the pie, right? They're doing the winning. I get that. But, man, it just does not feel healthy for this to hang over this conference for 14 more seasons. Like, it just.
I know. It's crazy. Whoever signed that deal, and I know that commissioner is now gone, but that is just such a horrible deal that they signed for that. Like, in a sport that's as much change that we've seen over the last couple of decades, to sign something that far out was crazy. But all the athletic directors, everyone agreed to it, so it's their fault. You just got to remember. Now, the numbers I saw said something like the team at the top, revenue wise, could end up having what, 10 million more dollars. That comes from somebody. Like, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like, it doesn't just, like, they're not just getting 10 million extra, right? There's the payout and it's going to go like this. So you're taking that money from somebody, and that somebody is not going to be happy. I don't know, man. I'm curious to see how this thing goes.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, the way that they've been doing it, the college football playoff, the NCAA tournament, like they've been spreading it all equally right there in the ACC. And that's how the conferences, from what I understand, that's how the conferences do it. And I guess in what they're looking at now is like, hey, if you make the college football playoff, you go deeper into the NCAA tournament, right? It seems like the team that does it is either going to get the whole thing or a much larger percentage, as opposed to it being spread out equally across the conference, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. But it's still not going to close this massive gap, right? And Florida State, even if they're making 10 more million, they're going to look at the number and being like, oh my God, Vandy's bringing in way more money than us. Wake Forest is bringing in, or I guess not Wake Forest, they're in the same conference. That was stupid. A team like Rutgers is bringing in way more money than us. Like, I don't think it's going to satisfy them the way that they're trying to talk themselves into it. The gap's going to be there. It's a big gap.
Well, I know this. The way you change your situation with your grant of rights deal with ESPN is not by fracturing and driving a wedge between the member institutions. If anything, it's by becoming tighter and holding together and pushing back and saying, no, we want to renegotiate. That's the way to change the deal. Like ESPN loves what they're seeing now, where everyone's fractured and upset, and like it's way more difficult to get things done that way. And it's not going to be good for the competitive balance of the league. Like there's a reason why all professional sports revenue share. It's so you can maintain competitive balance across the landscape. And this is going to seem great for the teams at the top to steer a few more dollars their way, but I'm telling you, man, they are going to try to drag Florida State down. That's how this thing works, man. When you step out and say you want more money and you take away from some other people that feel like they're doing their best to try and compete and do things right, look out.
Yeah, I love how some people are just assume, yeah, Syracuse is going to be cool with this. Like there's not going to be any animosity there. It's like, okay, all right, we'll see.
Yeah.